saw this video out there from creator, what's his name, RPG Gamer, and it is a deep dive on the 2013 Cyberpunk OG from R. Talsorian Games. Came out in 1988, and it's the first of its kind. It's the number one. It is Cyberpunk 1. I actually played 2020, the second revision, I think. 2020 version 2 is what I was introduced to. 2013 was the black box, which was like a starter kit that came in a black box.
Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. The end of another week, the end of a poll. We've got a very slim win for Cyberpunk, the 2013 first edition version. Now this was going to be a review of my physical copy, but unfortunately it's in storage and I've had such a chaotic week I've not had a chance to go over and get it. So I'm going to be doing the PDF review instead on the computer desktop. And more about my chaotic week at the end of the video, when I'll cover some other stuff about the channel and some other stuff about the poll. But before I do that, I'd like to take a moment to talk about my Patreons, who are wonderful, wonderful people who make all of this possible. And I'd like to thank them from the bottom of my heart, as their efforts are ever so much appreciated. Now if you'd like to join them and help support the channel, and I sure wish you would, or you'd like to see these videos a week early, or you'd like to see one of the other levels of patronage we've got, then there's a Patreon link to in the description down below. If you check it out, it'd be very much appreciated. But anyway, let's have a look at Cyberpunk 20.
Yeah, if you like this video, make sure you go to the Patreon and support and subscribe and everything.
So, this is Cyberpunk, also commonly known as Cyberpunk 2013, because it is the first edition where the second edition of the game was Cyberpunk 2020. And it's far more famous, so we retroactively changed the name of this one to Cyberpunk 2013 to identify the different versions of the game. Now this came out from R. Talsorian Games in 1988, and it originally came in a box set, like this one for second edition. A nice chunky box, which contained 3 books.
There it is, the black box, the famous black box. But the art, man, the art style and everything, this, just looking at that art style where it's like the negative color, black and white, there's something so beautiful about it. It looks like an 80s action movie, like opening credits, you know what I mean? It's so cool.
So the 3 books were Friday Night Firefight, which is the combat system, the main sort of fighting rules and everything. View from the Edge, the Cyberpunk handbook. And thirdly, Welcome to Night City, a sourcebook for 2013.
That's amazing. So it came with the source book. It came with the it came with the core rule book, the Night City source book, and Friday Night Firefight, the combat system, all 3 of them in the black box. That's so awesome. Basically, all of those things are now jam-packed in the core rule book. Maybe not the Night City source book, because that is its own thing, but we will be getting one soon, is what I've been hearing, or we'll be getting one eventually. The Night City source book, which I can't wait for that. One of the best source books for any RPG. It's just so cool to see district by district and all the cool things that you can do. But it is awesome that back in the day in 88, you would buy this game and it came with all this stuff.
First up, the artwork is nice. It's very clear. It's line artwork. There's no color in here. This is just black and white all through. The design's by Mike Pondsmith, obviously very famous these days, and we've got a nice contents page here. So it goes through the advanced combat system for interlog. Preparation, what materials you need, what character you're going to get, and it's got a short form showing your stats, what body areas are going to take wounds, what phases you're going in, what weapons you've got. So it explains a 3-phase turn.
So looking at this and then looking at the Cyberpunk Red character sheet, we obviously see a big difference. In Cyberpunk Red, there's no more limbs that you can target, or limbs don't have separate SP or armor, and you don't calculate them differently. In 2020 you did, in 2013 you did, and I kind of understand why. It looks more like a kind of flight simulator or space combat esque kind of thing, where every part of the body has a different function and it has its own health, and tackling combat in that kind of way is is fun. I like it. I like the number crunching, but in practice, I believe that the right thing to do is what eventually happened with Red, is everything kind of got rolled up into one. There's still ways where you can target limbs, but you get a -8 on a called shot, and then there's critical injuries that can happen to limbs and stuff like that. So in a way, we still have the essence of what happens when a limb gets shot or a limb gets removed, but it doesn't capture what we're looking at right here. It doesn't capture the kind of, battleship with the different parts of it, have different types of health and the story that it tells. So I think overall it was a good idea to do what they did with Red, but I do miss looking at something like this.
And in Mechton and other RTG adventure games. We go through scale, movement, ambushes, task attempts, all the usual sort of combat stuff. We've got turning around in combat, normal attack rolls, defense rolls, combat experience. We've got special attacks here, attacking inanimate targets.
All right, we got to take a look over here at auto fire, because auto fire was one of those big things, and it's in Cyberpunk Red. In my opinion, I think it's a really difficult thing to tackle, auto fire, because what it was in 2020 was absolutely way too powerful, and it meant you can kill any character at any point, at any time, just by being point blank range with them, with any weapon that had a 30 round magazine. Obviously that doesn't work. Red, I don't think, has captured what auto fire really is. I get what it's become. It's kind of become something that it wasn't in 2020. Now it's this thing that can swing, like, oh, if you automatically fire in someone's direction, the idea is you don't have a handle on your gun, so you're missing a lot, but some of the bullets hit. Or you have a good handle on your gun because you rolled really well and you concentrate a lot of bullets in one direction and you do a big boatload of damage, right? That's what the 2d6 is supposed to represent. But I don't think it's there, though. I really don't. And I have my own homebrew version of auto fire, and I don't even think my own homebrew version of auto fire is there either. I don't think I figured it out. And if you guys have ideas about auto fire, put it in the comments. I'm happy to look at it at one point. But I've heard from many people, and no one has been able to figure out how to make auto fire work, in my opinion, how to make auto fire work in Red or 2020, where it wasn't absolutely busted. So let's see here. Special attacks, automatic fire, the favorite of filmmakers, drug dealers, and would-be Rambos everywhere. Automatic fire can be done with either submachine guns like Uzis or the Ingram Mac, or with assault rifles such as the M16 or the popular AK-47. In theory, automatic fire should be absolutely deadly, and it is to a point. It's pretty hard to dodge 20 bullets headed your way. However, there are really two kinds of auto fire, each with its own advantages and limits. So in 2013, they split auto fire into two things. I think this is how it was in 2020 as well. I haven't played in a while. So direct auto fire concentrates a large number of bullets on a single target. This kind of fire is fairly inaccurate in as much as the recoil of successive rounds makes the weapon very hard to control. All right, same idea in Red. It's hard to control the weapon. It moves around too much. Direct auto fire is best used when you want to make sure your target is dead, and you don't care a whole lot about wasting ammo. It is also most effective at point blank and close ranges when you have only one target to deal with. See, that's one of the big problems with Red. The big problem with Red is you can be in point blank range with someone and absolutely miss every one of your shots in auto fire. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel logically like it would make sense. But the other option is what 2013 did here, which is you're more effective at point blank and close ranges. Let's find out what that means, okay? So direct auto fire can be performed in two ways: a short 3-round burst, giving better control over longer ranges, or a full auto burst, firing the maximum rate of fire possible for the weapon, depending on the type of burst. The defender will either use the range modifier column for 3-round burst or the column for full auto. For every point greater than your opponent's total, 1 round will hit. There's a DV that you have to hit, and for every number you go past the DV, depending how close they are and how far they are. That's what it was. For every point greater than your opponent's total, 1 round will hit, up to a total number of rounds fired. So if it's a 3-round burst, it's easier to hit, and you get hit with 3 rounds, which is huge. You know, that's what, 5d6 times 3, 15d6, you know. Hopefully you don't roll too many 6s, right? Example, my attack total is 10. I decided to full fire auto from my 9mm Uzi, 20 rounds. The defender fails his roll by 7 points, taking this many rounds. Okay, basically the difference between whatever the rolls were was 7, so you take 7 rounds of damage, which is a lot. I think 9mm were 2d6 in 2013, so 2d6 times 9, 18d6, or sorry, times 7, 14d6 is a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. That's an Uzi. Okay, an Uzi just wiped someone out. I don't think they had auto fire down in 2013 as well. I think it's one of those things that was difficult to nail down, and I don't think that anyone has nailed it down yet. I'd love to see if somebody could figure it out. Maybe we got to throw a D8 in there. I don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we got to get a new dice in there. Pepto-Bismol says, I've come around to auto fire red. You want to do a lot of damage in one turn? Get a bigger gun, not a faster one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, that's not what auto fire was. Like in this example, it was an Uzi. No one uses an Uzi in red. No one uses a light machine gun, light submachine gun. Everybody either uses the heavy submachine gun, the heavy pistol, and an assault rifle. And why? Because it sucks being the one person that does no damage to NPCs while the rest of your team is just murdering everybody. And I've said it in a previous video. If your players are edge runners and they're making money, they can afford an assault rifle, okay? Gatekeeping assault rifles from them is not fun. They're going to be like, this doesn't make sense. I should have an assault rifle. And I have no reason to believe otherwise.
Automatic fire, direct auto fire, suppressive fire. We are then on to melee combat.
Okay, here we go. We got aiming auto fire, all right? One problem with aiming shots at specific locations is that you can't combine them with burst firing weapons. Even light caliber rounds have recoil effects multiplied by several dozen rounds. This bucking action will throw the gun barrel out of line within a few seconds, making it impossible to choose a specific shot location. The main advantage of rock and rolling isn't in accuracy, but in firepower. Who's going to stick his head up when there's a hail of lead filling the air? You can aim automatic fire in your target's direction, taking advantage of the aiming bonus. Okay, so there is an aim bonus. I think it's in red as well. It's +1. It's just taking extra time, just aiming. You just get a +1 to hit, basically. However, where you hit will always be determined on the random hit table. So yeah, sounds like they still didn't figure it out.
Suppressive fire. We are then on to melee combat. And Friday night fist fight for melee combat. Feints, parries, dodges. It's quite a detailed system. Damage and wounds. Now, the main aim of this system was to be realistic. Combat was supposed to be deadly. You're not supposed to be bullet sponges, the hero who takes a gunshot to the leg and charges back into combat instantly. Fighting is supposed to hurt.
Yeah, that's a big one there that RPG Gamer's talking about. The old school, it didn't look like it was balanced because it wasn't meant to be balanced. It was meant to be that deadly. And by the way, auto fire and point blank range wasn't the only way you could kill somebody. There was many ways where you can kill somebody with cyberware, combinations of martial arts, explosives. I mean, you name it, sneaking up on somebody and doing a bunch of damage. There's so many ways to kill somebody in the old school Cyberpunk. Now, Was it cool? In a way, yes, but in a way also it was really punishing. And especially when you had a try hard game master, then there was a lot of times where it was just not fun. And maybe they were like, well, hey, that's the game. That's what the game is. And then you're like, okay, I don't like Cyberpunk if that's what the game is, you know? So it might have turned off some people to the game. It was one of the biggest complaints of Cyberpunk. I remember when Red was coming out, there was two things that they wanted to take care of, and it was the lethality and the crunching, the number crunching. Those were like two of the big. There's obviously other things that they wanted to tackle, but lethality and number crunching and prolonged rounds of combat, they wanted to get away from that, which I think they did a really good job. I still think the rounds go a little bit too long because of armor and SP and reducing SP, but do I want to see armor go? No, I like it. I think it's a good addition to the game. I think it's really fun.
So we've got stuff here: structural damage, bludgeoning damage, different types of armor and wounds, healing and recovery, and then we're onto a weapon reference section. Goes through describing all the different sections, and then all the weapons are very much crammed in. We've got their stats.
All right, we got to take a look at these weapons here. All right. This doesn't look like much, but as somebody coming to a game and seeing these names and all these stats and seeing how deep they go, it is a little bit overwhelming, but at the same time, I'm absolutely intrigued. I'm like, ooh, I can have a Desert Eagle. The current weapon of the 1980s, the Desert Eagle, has seen service with the Israeli army, as well as having great popularity among civilian marksmen. Yeah, I want a Desert Eagle. What's it about? I forgot what each of these little things means. I think C means concealable. J, I forgot. 1 is rate of fire. So P, I forgot. P is pistol. That's right. Pistol, rate of fire 1. J, I forgot what that means. C is concealable. And then the round is a 357. So instead of asking what damage the gun does, you would find out what damage the ammo does. Okay. And then 9 was, I believe, the magazine capacity. 2, I don't remember what that 2 is. VR is very rare. So the availability of the gun. So 357, I forgot exactly how much damage it does, but you would put all these things together to give you an idea whether this was the type of gun for you. Low magazine count, big damage. Okay, right above it, the Stayer GB80, pistol 1 JP. I don't remember what P means. 9mm, 18 round magazine. 2 and ST. I forgot. Standard maybe. Standard. Relatively new weapon in many NATO countries. Yeah, so this just makes me want to deep dive into each one of these weapons and try to figure out which one to use. And the cool thing is they have real life counterparts, you know what I mean? This is like real guns. The Desert Eagle's a real gun. Obviously, you know, copyright, you can't do that shit anymore. This was back in the days, 88, where nobody was doing stuff like this. Smith & Wesson and Beretta, you're seeing names, Mauser, you know, those names would not be there nowadays with IP and all that. I think that the idea of this is awesome, and translating into 2077 or 2045 would have been really cool. The current item system in Red is not as exciting as I want it to be, but it's still cool. Chromebook is cool. I like the items, and there's a lot of cool ideas within it, but this is exciting to me. I like this.
There's just one line across the top and then a short description. So the 45 Colt automatic, it's got its stats: standard US military firearm for over 70 years, known as a serious manstopper with rugged design and excellent adaptability. And we go through different types: so automatic pistols, revolvers, holdouts, submachine guns, rifles, shotguns. We've got different melee weapons, and then we've got armor reference.
So this section in the armor where they're talking about layering armor, this thing everybody got wrong. Okay, there was a small section in the core rulebook that told you what you do with layering armor and how there was a downside. and everybody would get past that and be like, what are you talking, what's layering armor? And it happened so many times, and it wasn't just the game master, it was everybody at the table just missed that little paragraph, and they thought they could have like SP40 armor all over the place. You know what I mean? Layering armor, what a concept. You think shrugging into a bulletproof t-shirt, a bulletproof vest, and a Kevlar armor jacket, theoretically one should be able to layer protection upon itself. He becomes invulnerable. However, in Friday Night Firefight, the actual limit on how much armor you can pile onto an area is a combined SP total of 30, which is insane. That's a big number. This would, for example, allow you to wear an SP18 over a t-shirt, which was SP10, but not an armored t-shirt and a gunner vest, which is 35. Damage is subtracted from the total SP of all armor in that hit area. I think they changed it in 2020. I think they changed it to give you some negatives as well. But layering armor in 2013 was 30 is the max. And 30 is a lot. It's honestly a lot. Yes, it is different in 2020, right? I think there was negative modifiers to SP layering, because just giving you 30 SP because you have a t-shirt and a jacket, you know, like a special t-shirt and a jacket, is nuts. So that everybody has to be doing, well then, you know, auto fire is not as bad, right? Because you're subtracting 30 from what, 70.
Weapons, and then we've got armor reference, going through and illustrating what types of armor. And then we've got reference tables at the back here.
All right, you know we got to look at those tables. We got ambush table, condition, dim light or smoke, complete darkness, shotgun hit, left arm, torso. Jesus Christ. Is this... Dude, this is crazy. Random hit table. Okay, we're there. We saw that. Bludgeon damage. A strike, a kick, a break, and a throw. Divide all bludgeon damage by 5. Interesting. So this is like just punching someone in the face. 1d6 plus strength divided by 5. Breaking someone's arm. 1d6 plus strength. 1d6 plus strength isn't much. Like, okay, let's say your strength is 8. You roll a 4. So 12 divided by 5. 2 damage? 3 damage? Seems low to me. Seems like, why would you do it? But I guess that's what bludgeoning is. You know what I mean? Melee damage. Grenades? You ever want to hit someone with a grenade? That's crazy. 2d6 melee damage? Someone's got to explain that to me. The ballistic table is nuts. What is this? What is that? Feet per pounds? 971 feet per pound? 22 short, 22 long, 45 ACP. 9mm para. Yeah, this one got way too in the weeds, dude. Yeah, this is like gun porn. It's hardcore gun porn on Friday Night Firefight. Look at the defender cover modifiers. Behind the hostage, +3. Behind the corner, +2. So the best human shield still exists. It exists in red. Over cover, +2. See, I would have liked this in red somehow, but it is too much to think about. Prone, +1. Target running, +2. Over cover, +2. Yeah, this is a little... I like the little artwork though. It helps us understand. Okay, here's the reference tables. Range. Single shot, shotguns, full auto, 3-round burst. All right, you guys can see what I mean about the crunch, right? This is obviously the first edition. The second edition did a little bit better, but I'm getting dizzy just looking at all these numbers. I'm getting so dizzy. First we were talking about feet, pound per feet. Now we're at meters. Now we're at modifiers. Consciousness save, cumulative wound. Yeah, this is super number crunchy. This is a gun simulator. Which is cool if you're into it, but it looks like so much to think about. Uphill, movement cost, mud, grenade throw. Oh, I like this grenade throw table. Throw 2d6 for distance. Throw 1d6 for location. In front of the target, to the left front, to the right front, behind target. I like that. 2d6 for distance. See, I like it being the way it is in red. And I think 2020 was the same way. It was your athletics, which means if you're good at throwing things, you're good at throwing the grenade. That's the idea. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Back here. An errata page, fixing any problems with it, some sample character sheets, and that's us done with Friday Night Firefight. Then we're on to View from the Edge, the Cyberpunk handbook. Now this is mainly about making characters. So we go through Soul of the New Machine, basically explaining the world. And the very first one, which is something that stuck with me and why I think Cyberpunk is very different to things like Shadowrun. Because the first thing is style over substance. If you look good, you're going to be far better than somebody who is loaded for bear. Having a massive assault rifle and doing lots of damage is important in combat. But if you can intimidate somebody so they don't fight through the style because you're carrying this massive blunderbuss of a pistol, you aim it straight at their face and threaten them so they don't fight at all, that's going to do you better. Attitude is everything. Live on the edge. And we've got the different roles. So we've got rocker boys and rocker girls. Solos.
That piece of artwork right there is so awesome.
Rocker boys and rocker girl.
Oops. That piece of artwork, dude, we're missing that. It tells you so much about the character. The long, crazy nails, femme fatale, cool 80s, 90s, like artwork, Patrick Nagel style. It's sick, dude. That's sick.
Solos, netrunners, techies, medias, cops, corporates, fixers, nomads, and then details about fleshing them out. And we've got some tables here, what your dress and personal style is like, who you value most.
So this is the life path version 1.0 it's looking like, and it's cool to see that it's basically the same way, however many years later. And the reason is, it's awesome. It's honestly awesome. The best part of Cyberpunk is making a character and rolling on these tables, or even choosing stuff on these tables, because you really get to flesh out your character. I mean, you guys have played Cyberpunk, so you know exactly how cool it is.
Things which are still in Cyberpunk up to this day in the latest Cyberpunk Red. Headwear, the mechanics of Cyberpunk characters. So we talk about character points and the forms that you're going to use, character sheets, the statistics, what skills and tasks are. And we've got life path here. So what you spend your youth doing, what education you get on the street, whether you got military education, etc., going through your life. We've got other character things, so whether you make a friend or an enemy and different tables to roll on. Really, really good stuff to flesh out your character very quickly. Just a few dice roll, and you can make a really...
I believe that's Alton Johnny. I believe so, which is awesome. That's like one of the first pieces of artwork. Dude, how cool does this... Yeah, I love this life path system. And it's so cool that this much work went into it. Return, go to C2, go to B1. It's like a choose your own adventure, but the adventure is your character.
Detailed character straight from this 1988 edition. The tables of that, inventing new skills, starting funds, and what sort of equipment you get, putting the cyber into the punk. So we've got cyber fashion, cyber technology, booster wear, optics, cyber audio. And it goes through things. So the cyber optics has infrared, micro telescopes, micro cambers, Times Square marquees, targeting scopes, etc. And it details everything. So we've got interface plugs, optionware, chipware, reflex chips, memory chips, artificial limbs, body plating.
This section of the book, usually I would get absolutely lost in. And by the end of it, I'm like, I don't even know what to pick. Like for the cyberware, I don't even know what to pick. There's so many cool things for cool situations that might come up that I can't pick one thing, you know what I mean? But it is really cool to see all those options. And then there is the cover of the book, not negative. It's like the line drawing, but in the regular coloring, which is so sick. I've never seen that. I didn't even know that existed on the bottom right there. Really cool.
Running out of cash, what you can do to earn more money: join the covert military, take up a life of organized crime, sell out to a corporation. But what the costs of that, the catch? Being a net runner, so it explains the internet, basically. This is 1988, so nobody had really thought of an interlinked network. And while they never got things right, it's easy to fit what they've got written into what we now know about a World Wide Web, internet. Got interface programs showing how different cities are linked together across Europe as well. An interface map, some of the large corporation systems, how you would move around the different nodes and what you would find there.
Okay, that's sick, dude. That's sick. I love this. I love looking at this and knowing that, if you're going to go through a Mycotech ACE 123 series, this is how it's set up. Now, do I know how to do net running in 2020 and 2013? Absolutely not. Did I ever try? No. Also no. Did I know anybody that knew how to do net running? Also no. So we just didn't do it. Do we do it in red? All the time. And it's much easier and it's much simpler to understand. But looking at this, I want something like this in red. Whatever this is, I don't even know what it is and I want it. Right?
Systems, how you would move around the different nodes and what you would find there. Hardware, software, so different programs you can install on your deck, showing a netrunner with his brain burnt out.
Got fried.
Along with a large list of different programs, explaining what each does, how powerful they are. Pages of those. Then we're on to net combat, explaining how all this works. What it looks like when you go into the internet, or into the net, rather. Refereeing the net. Different computer parts when you're going to build up a system. Then we've got trauma team, medtech, and drugs in the cyber age. We can rebuild you. So body design, appearance, increase your interactiveness. And we've got drugs. What's a cyberpunk game without drugs? A lot healthier. Addiction saves. And then we've got different types of drugs. Dorf, black lace. We've got notes and errata section. A spare copy of the interface map. And lots of reference sheets showing the prices of different things. And a standard cyberpunk character sheet, which still kind of looks the same all these years later. Reference sheet for skills. So if you printed that out, they can have all reference.
All right, let me see here. Disguise, is that a skill? Shadowing ditch. I'm trying to see if any of the skills didn't make it to red. Yeah, shadowing ditch. The skill of shadowing and following people. The skill is primarily urban. Yeah, there's a tracking skill now in red. Stealth is still there. Disguise, is there disguise? I don't remember if there's software design. The skill of writing software, including net running programs and others. That's interesting because in 2020 in Brainware Blowout, software design doesn't exist as a skill, but you can make programs using your interface and your intelligence, something like that. Complex language. Yeah, that's about it. Pistol, rifle, melee weapon, driving, athletics, martial arts, brawling. The skill of street fighting, unlike martial arts, brawling involves little or no training. You're just built different. You fight different because you built different. Okay. Interesting.
Sheet for skills. So if you printed that out, they can have all of their stuff on the front, but they can look things up. They know how much different weapons will cost, what their skills actually do. So we're on to the third book. These are all fairly brief. Welcome to Night City, a source book for 2013. So we've got the timeline for the 2000s, basically explaining how we get from 1989 up to 2013. Including space programs, the takeover of corporations, etc. It describes the world. The United States, 25 years of corrupt government.
The future year of 2013, baby.
Economic destabilization has resulted in a nation divided by class, by race, and by economics. Kind of sounds like they almost got it right. So we've got all the information about the United States, about the world, legal backgrounds, what weapons are like, transportation, including the use of ospreys, which kind of did happen. We now have military aircraft which are tilt wing. They swivel their propellers round to do vertical takeoff and landing and then propel them forward.
Yeah, as you can see here, they even have stats for like things that you'll probably never. When am I gonna ever use a Bell Boeing V-22B Osprey in my game? You know what I mean? But if I ever do, I know that it's max speed, it's range, structural damage points, and all the if like we have a battlefield where there's a crashed one. You know what I mean? But it's that kind of care into it where you're not just talking about the thing, you're giving it stats. That's what I remember from old Cyberpunk. Everything had stats because somebody thought about that. Somebody was like, if you want to put it in your game, this is like the official stats for it. I love that.
Their propellers round to do vertical takeoff and landing and then propel them forward. Different communications things, which still has fax in it.
Look at that brick of a cell phone.
It's odd because in the real world, fax was long forgotten, or long forgotten by 2013. Although I know a bunch of companies still use it. Newspapers, television, and radio. Assorted tips and tricks for doing the cyberpunk genre.
Yeah, I heard about a lot of people that play 2020 adopting the red net running rules as well. Yep.
Talking about Night City itself and a map which is very, very different from the Cyberpunk 2077 game. A picture of Johnny Silverhand, because what would it be without Johnny Silverhand in a
the man himself
Cyberpunk product? A cyberpunk adventure, which is all about Johnny and Alt Cunningham. And we get stats for Johnny there, Thompson and Media, Rogue, who also features heavily in the Cyberpunk 2077 game, different vehicles, Santiago, and we go through the run until we reach Alt, who looks...
All this artwork is so beautiful. I have the Johnny Silverhand right here. I have that same Alt up there on my wall. This artwork is just, timeless. Absolutely classic, amazing artwork.
Better there than she ever did in the video game, I have to say.
Nextel, that's...
a nice full-page picture of her. Corporate life, so describing how corporations work. How they have basically taken over from governments. And then we've got corporate profiles, so it talks about Euro Business Machines Corporation, Zetatech, Microtech,
See, even the corporations have stats. Everything about them is stats. Regional offices, available on market, name and location, covert operatives, troops, equipment and resources. This is all to empower the game master into using these corporations in their game, which is awesome.
But Network News 54, Orbital Air, Infocomp, Biotechia, Petrochem, Militech, WorldSat Communications, Arasaka, which plays such a large point in the video game. Just another Friday night. So we've got things here, Silverhand can still rock, like news articles, telling us what the world's like from being inside it. Talks about booster gangs. A press release or information release about Arasaka. Gang violence erupts on the Night City streets. One night with the trauma team. These are all in-world stories as if you were reading through a newspaper and these were articles in it to help immerse you in the game. A character sheet and a list of Netrunner programs. So that is Cyberpunk 2013, first edition, whatever you want to call it. And they got so much right from the beginning. There's loads of brilliant stuff in here, especially the character generation. Now, I'll cover the rules in a future rules breakdown video, because they are different to Cyberpunk 2020, but we can see where the evolution came from. And what else was fantastic in it? There's so much great world building. There is so much great about the info dump. So they give you newspaper stuff. Not only are you learning about the world, but you're learning what people think in that world. A really, really good way of telling you about things and immersing you in the world from the very beginning. So that was Cyberpunk 2013. But anyway, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough.
All right, we know the rest. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and support RPG Gamer. I'll make sure to put his name in the link in the description below. But this is awesome. Let's see, did he do some other ones? We should cover some of the other. Legend of the Five Rings, D&D Adventure, D&D is Evil. Yeah, a lot of cool videos. A lot of cool videos. We'll check it out. Palladium's videos and stuff like that. All right. So yeah, make sure you guys support RPG Gamer and you do all that. Great video. Cyberpunk 2013 is one of the best ever made, and I really enjoyed watching that video, really enjoyed learning about it.